September is a great time to wipe the slate clean. Let's go. Hi guys, it's Laura and I help you live a simpler, happier, more spacious life. And first on that list of living a more spacious life is decluttering office supplies or school supplies. Now, if you're like me, you love stationery, and whether or not you have kids going back to school, a lot of this stuff is on clearance this time of year, or certainly there is a lot of it in stores. So the temptation is to buy notebooks, to buy pens, to buy pretty things you don't really need. Or over the years you have just collected a lot of this stuff and you realize you're not actually using a stapler anymore. Or how many notebooks does one person really need? I haven't reached that limit yet, so I will let you know if I do. Chances are you have some supplies that are surplus to requirement. Whittle them down and then just avoid the stationery section in stores. Next on the list then is outdated technology. When I was going to school, it was plain old pen and paper and books. These days, kids in schools are using tablets, laptops. I had to buy my daughter a wireless mouse. Oh, how times have changed. And it's not just the difference between the 80s and now. Sometimes it's the difference between last year and now. Technology moves so quickly. There are new things coming out all of the time. So it's possible that you have an old phone, an old laptop, an old games console or something that you're just not using because you have a newer version or the old one just doesn't work anymore. If it's outdated, out it goes, and that also includes the cords and cables and all the accessories and attachments that come with it. Now I'll admit that this next one is tough for me because academia is my jam. I will be an eternal student, but I am talking about old reference material, old college notes, old school notes, encyclopedias, even old phone books. Listen, we have to get honest with ourselves about how often we're actually using this stuff, how often we're actually referencing it. If you can't remember the last time you used it and you have another source for that information, i.e. the internet, you can probably let a lot of this stuff go. Now, like I said, I have trouble with this one. Most of this stuff is actually sentimental for me, but I know I can still stand to get rid of something. Like, these are notes on a photography course I took. Do I know how to use a camera now? Evidently. If you're not actually using it for reference, recycle it. I think this next one will be a struggle for everyone because we all struggle with papers, and we've all bought folders, binders, those plastic pockets, everything we can think of to corral all of those papers. I used to have, you know, the banker's boxes, you know, like archive boxes full of stuff. But over the years I've been whittling down my paper collection and I've been able to get rid of a lot of that stuff. Get rid of the empty folders, get rid of the folders that are full but full of junk. I can't tell you how many binders I've had over the years that have been full of papers and taking up a lot of space, and I thought, well, I can't get rid of them because I'm using them to store all of those papers, but when I actually went through them, the papers are just totally useless. Go ahead and free up a huge amount of shelf space. This next one is not exactly an exception to the rule, but it is slightly different to the others. I will explain. It is antibacterial everything, all the cold and flu and germ stuff. Are we all sick of that yet? You probably know that back to school season is germ season. Schools are germ factories. Here come the sniffles. So yes, I can see how this stuff is necessary, but do you have some sprays or lotions or gels or something that are past their prime, or they're maybe even empty? Do you have ones that you keep skipping over in favor of using a different type because you don't like the smell, the consistency, how it feels, whatever? But here's how this category is different, because decluttering at its core is about creating space for yourself. It's about creating space for the things that you actually use and love. The way you do that is by clearing away all of the stuff that you don't. By going through this stuff, you're not only getting rid of the stuff that you don't need or use, you're also making sure that you have on hand everything that you need. Like I said, it is virus season. You do not want to wake up with a sniffle or a tickle and not have a pack of tissues, throat lozenges, cold and flu medication when you need it. Yes, sometimes decluttering can be difficult, but in the grand scheme of things, it's actually about making your life easier. Now let's talk tumblers, flasks, water bottles, reusable coffee cups. Over time, these can multiply until you have way more on hand than you actually need or are using. Pick your favorite ones and declutter the rest. And while you're at it, the ones that you are keeping, Give them a good scrub because these get disgusting. And let's face it, if it's filthy, you're not going to use it, or if it's awkward to clean, you're not going to use it. Stick to the ones that are easy to use, easy to clean. It's actually a good rule of thumb for pretty much everything you own. Next up then is bags and backpacks, and not just those, but maybe the contents too. I have found all sorts of weird and wonderful things hidden away in bags that I had not used for a while. Some of it was like great to be reunited with, some of it not so much. Some of it was unidentifiable. If you've got school-going kids, possibly you buy them a new backpack every year or every other year, but you may keep the old one just in case. Or maybe you yourself have lots of different bags and maybe you use them for different things, and that's totally fine. You probably reach for the same one over and over again, so keep that one and reconsider the rest. Okay, let's talk kids' clothes, but specifically shoes, socks, and underwear. If this isn't a category for you, then your own shoes, socks, and underwear. Kids in particular go through these things at an unbelievable rate. It happens frighteningly quickly and is very expensive. So if they are too small, too tight, they hurt in some way, you or your kid has outgrown them, or you're just not wearing them, or you've plain worn them out, clear away all of that space, because you don't want to be reaching past a smelly pair of old flip-flops to get to your good winter boots. Out with the old, and yeah, that's basically just it. Out with the old. Now before you skin me alive for this next one, hear me out. I am talking photographs of your kids, or just family photos. Okay, bear with me. I am willing to bet that you have duplicates, blurry photos, or just unimportant photos of your kids. And if you're like me, thousands of them. Obviously you don't have to go through them all right now, but pick a particular time frame. And if you don't want to like sit down and dedicate time to this, and something that I find really helpful is, you know, that thing on your phone that says, you know, here are your memories from this particular time, or on this day 6 years ago. Those are great because they start showing you all of the old photographs, and as you're seeing them, if you see one that really is not that special to you anymore, you can delete it on the spot without having to sit down and go through all of your photos. This next one is excellent, particularly if you've ever found yourself saying, you know, I don't have time to declutter, or I don't have time to do the things that I want to do. Declutter an obligation or a commitment or something from your schedule. Maybe there's a class you're taking that you're not interested in. Maybe it is like a PTA board, some sort of committee. We are all busy people. We all want more time for the things that matter to us. But here's the thing, we only have 24 hours in the day. So to make that time, you have to get rid of stuff that is just taking up and wasting your precious hours. Say no to that request. Stand down from that committee. Tell them you just can't fit it into your schedule right now. Free yourself from that unnecessary responsibility. Now with this list, not only have you freed up some physical space, but you've freed up space in your schedule so you can dedicate more time, more attention, more focus to the things that you actually love to do. But when you're on this decluttering roll, you don't want anything to slow you down. So check out this video for a list of the most common decluttering obstacles, the mistakes that I see over and over again, and how to overcome them. It is going to save you a lot of time, a lot of heartache. Go raibh míle maith agaibh. Agus feicim mé sibh go luath. Slán!